What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day. I got another little long road trip drive I'm having to make. I'm delivering a TRX 2.5R to my buddy, and I'm picking up a connecting rod for a 3.3. So a little Nitro errand running I'm making this morning. So I guess it's time for another Nitro story time. And this might be a short story, but it's basically a story about one of the only times in my life that I've ever been a thief and I stole something that I took without paying for it or asking for it. I snuck and just took it and didn't say nothing, and it was really bad. I feel really bad about doing it now that I'm grown up and I realize what I had done. But back in the day, I didn't care. I'm a totally different person now than I used to be. And I've never really been a thief, but that was that one. I mean, I've basically, let me just get into the story and explain it. So, I've always loved RC cars ever since I was old enough to even drive one. Like I said in a different video, my first RC car was one that had a wire connected to the remote that went all the way back to the car, and you had to walk behind it the whole time you're driving it. And basically every Christmas, every birthday, anytime I got money from a holiday or something, I sold something in a yard sale, I would always put my money and ask for an RC car. And throughout the years, I've got many RC cars, all different kinds. But I never really got a hobby grade RC car, like a really nice one, until I was like, I think I was around 12 or 13 is when I got my first Nitro RC car. It was a hobby grade RC car. I guess you could say X mods that came from Radio Shack. It might be considered a hobby grade RC car, because you could also buy upgrades and different parts and customize them. And you could fix them if they broke. And I had a pretty big X mod collection. Every week at school, I would save my lunch money. I wouldn't eat food at lunch. Every day during my lunch period at school, I would just sit at the table and talk to my buddies and hang out, because I didn't want to spend my lunch money. I would save up my lunch money, and every Wednesday before we'd go to church, I would ask my mom to take me by Radio Shack, and I would spend my lunch money that I saved up on a new X mod part. But I'm getting off track here. Let's get back to me being a thief. So like I said, my first hobby grade RC car was around 12 or 13 years old when I got it for Christmas. And I absolutely loved that thing. It was a whole totally different new world to me. And I cherished it. And I drove the freaking tires off that thing. I bet you I drove that thing at least every other day. And my family, my mom and dad, back in the day when I was real young, like a child, my parents had pretty good jobs, and we had a decent amount of money. I mean, we wasn't rich, but we had enough money to get by and buy, nice things for the house and have nice clothes and go on vacations. And then my parents' jobs moved far off, and my parents didn't want to drive that far, so they had to find new jobs, and we didn't really have that much money anymore. And so I never really got to get like a big hobby grade RC car that I actually wanted. Like, of course, like I said, I got my first Nitro RC car, hobby grade RC car, when I was 12 or 13. But of course, there was plenty other hobby grade RC cars that I would have rather had over the one that I got. I got a Nitro Sport for my first hobby grade RC car. But of course, I would have rather had a T-Max 3.3 or a Revo 3.3. And I eventually got all them later on in life. But it was only after I did my own wheeling and dealing and made my own money and stuff. But let me get back to me being a thief. So my best friend in the whole world, we're like brothers. His family has a pretty good bit of money, and he would get like a new Nitro RC car like anytime he would ask for it. I mean, it seemed like he was getting one. It seemed like he got one, at least two Nitro RC cars, excuse me, every year. And yeah, I was jealous. I mean, I wasn't mean to him about it. I was kind of like let down, like, man, it must be nice to have them nice big RC trucks. Because there I was with a little simple Nitro Sport, smallest engine they made, smallest tires they made, smallest platform they made. And then there he was. He had the big 3.3, the big engines with the big tires, a 4-wheel drive, and 2-speed transmission. And anyways, we would always spend the night at each other's house, like literally every weekend. Either I stayed the night with him or he stayed the night with me. And we always drove our Nitro RC cars. So either I would bring my car to his house or he would bring his cars to my house. And so this was back when this was a time when he was going to come stay the night at my house. And he had like a Traxxas Nitro Stampede, and he had just got a Traxxas T-Max 3.3 for Christmas. And I was so jealous. And I just had the one single Nitro Sport. That's all I had, was one hobby grade RC car. So he came over to my house with his T-Max 3.3 and his Traxxas Nitro Stampede and stayed the night with me. And we drove them around. I drove mine, he drove his. And that next day, we went to the local hobby shop. It was actually the hobby shop I used to work at, but this was back before I worked there, when I was still a little bit younger. And we went up there to get some nitro fuel, and they had a pretty good used rack. Like, they would always have different kind of used RC cars, from nitros to electrics, maybe a few boats and helicopters and airplanes. They just had like a used rack that had all kind of different used RC products on it. You never knew what they were going to have. They always got new stuff in all the time. But we went in, and they had a really nice, I mean, it looked like it was brand new. It didn't have a scratch on it. Big T-Max 3.3. It came with a remote, a fuel bottle, the Easy Start battery, a charger. Basically everything it came with brand new from the factory, besides it didn't have the box with it. And it was sitting there for sale for only $200. It was such an amazing deal. I really, looking back at it, I don't know like what kind of life the engine had previously and how they broke the engine in or what they put it through. But long story short, the engine did run amazing. It popped wheelies at his second gear, and it ran great. It never died or stalled out. So anyways, we seen that T-Max 3.3 sitting there, and of course I would have loved to have had it, but I didn't have $200. I was lucky enough just to buy the nitro fuel we were going there to get. And my buddy, he wanted it too. Even though he just literally got a new T-Max 3.3 like a couple of weeks before we were there, he's seen that one and he wanted it too. Why not? Anybody would want to, right? So he just, I mean, he kind of just done it. He just pulled his phone out, called his mom up, asked if he could have his Easter money early. And she was like, they were talking back and forth on the phone, and basically he explained to her that there was a really nice RC car that he wanted. It was a good deal. It was too good of a deal to pass up the offer. So he got like $50 from his mom, right? And she said, yeah, you can come get it whenever. Then he called up his mama and asked for Easter money. He got $100 from his mama. And then he didn't get it right then. We had to go get it. And then after he called his mama, he called someone else up and asked if they wanted to buy an iPod Touch. So he sold an iPod Touch for $100. So there, within like 5 minutes, even though we was like 12 or 13 years old, within 5 minutes he just made $250. So he was able to get the T-Max. So he went up to the guy that ran the store, that owned the hobby shop. He's like, hey, he said, will you put this behind the counter for me so I can go get my money and come back and buy it? And that guy was like, I don't know, or it's first come, first serve. Are you sure you're going to come back today? And we went there all the time, and he kind of knew us personally from coming there all the time. So he went ahead and agreed. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll put it behind the counter for you. So he put it behind the counter, and my mom ran us to all these different locations to round up all my buddy's money that he just got. And we went back to the hobby shop, and my buddy bought that T-Max 3.3. And I was so jealous and upset, like, dang, man, now you've got 3 hobby grade Nitro RC cars, and you got 2 really big, nice ones, and I got the one smallest, crappiest one. So we went back to my house, and of course we drove them, and he set them up and posed them and was taking pictures of them on his phone. He had a little one of them old, it was back in the day when phones were just getting kind of technical. They had crappy cameras, but he was still taking pictures of it. And it was kind of almost like he was rubbing it in, asking me if I liked it, or would you trade yours for this one, or would you rather have this one, or would you rather have that one? And I was just getting so sick and tired of hearing about it. And I think I forgot to mention it, but I had my Nitro. I only had 2 hobby grade RC cars at the time. I had a Traxxas Nitro Sport, and I had a used S-Max 3.3, but it had a blowed up motor on it. It was in good condition, but it had a blowed up motor on it, so I couldn't drive it. And I was just so tired. My buddy was like rubbing that new T-Max 3.3 in all day, and they ran so great. They were catwalking, popping wheelies, hitting 2 speeds, second gear. I mean, I was so jealous. And my buddy wound up staying the night with me again that night. So he stayed the night with me 2 nights in a row. And guys, this is where it gets bad. This is where I turn into a bad person. I'm no longer like this. I don't do it no more. I can't stand a thief. My family had our shop. We had our shops broke into, and a bunch of we had so many tools stolen. They stole my 4-wheeler. They stole my trailer and used my trailer to steal all of our tools and 4-wheelers. They stole my welding equipment. So I can't stand a thief. So trust me, I've had karma. I got paid back for what I've done wrong. So trust me, don't be mad at me. Don't think I'm a bad person, because I've had a lot of karma come back on me, and that's why I'm a better person now. I know I've grown up, and I know what's right and what's wrong. And it's really hard to make money these days. And when you work for something and you make your own money, you got a lot of pride in it. So you take care of whatever you put your money into, and you cherish it, and you take care of it, and you hold on to it. And it ain't right for somebody to come take that from you that don't belong to them. So trust me, guys, I can't stand a thief. But let me get back to what happened. So that my buddy stayed the night with me again for the 2nd night in a row. And we had all of our Nitro RC cars in my bedroom lined up in a big row. I was laying in my bed, he was laying in his bed. And my buddy, he had done fell asleep. And I was laying up in my bed watching TV. And for some reason, I just could not go to sleep. I just kept laying there and tossing and turning. And for whatever reason, I just kept thinking about, I kept glancing in the floor and looking at all the Nitro RC cars he's got, and then looking at the ones I got. And it just came over me. I was like, I was wishing that I had my, like I said, I had the S-Max Stadium truck 3.3, but had a blowed up motor. And I was wishing that it was fixed and it was running so I could drive my big truck with his big truck. so I could fit in and have 2 speeds, second gear shifting, and 3.3 engine power, popping wheelies. And guys, this is where it gets bad. Like I said, I don't know what made me think to do this, but I slowly creeped out of bed, being as quiet as I can so I don't wake up my buddy. I got my broken S-Max, my blowed up 3.3 S-Max, and took it into my bathroom that was right across the hall from my bedroom. Then I creeped back in my bedroom, and I got that T-Max 3.3 that my buddy had just bought at the hobby shop earlier that day. And guys, I took the motor off his T-Max and swapped it out with my blowed up motor. Yep, I stole his 3.3 while he was asleep. And I got it done within like 45 minutes. And I put them back in the bedroom like they had never been touched. And the next day we woke up and we were getting ready to drive them after we ate breakfast. And he was going to drive that one that I took the motor off of. And the day before, it ran great. It always crunk right up. It popped wheelies. It had a lot of power. And then he went to go crank it this time, and it wouldn't even start because it was blowed up, because I swapped it out with a bad motor. And he had no idea that I'd done it while he was asleep. So he kept trying to crank it and crank it and crank it, and he kept getting upset because he didn't understand why all of a sudden it wasn't running. Because it ran great the day before, now it won't run at all. So it was tearing him up. So finally he just said, well, forget it, I'll just drive my other T-Max 3.3. And basically, long story short, he never could get it running because, like I said, it was blowed up. I put a bad motor on it, and I stole his brand new motor. And he wound up eventually just selling that T-Max, because that was back before we knew how to rebuild engines, and back before we understood the Traxxas trade-in program where you could go get a brand new engine if yours blowed up or it was bad. And he basically just sold it and bought a whole brand new RC car later on. Guys, I gotta go real quick. I'll get back to the story. I'm dropping this TRX 2.5R off to my buddy. I was breaking it in for him, and now I'm here, so I gotta let y'all go, and I'll get back to the story after I get done handling this. Alright guys, I'm back. I hope y'all don't mind if I smoke a cigarette. I'm a smoker. I ain't had one in a minute, so I'm just gonna have to happen. But anyways guys, back to the story. Yep, that's what I done. I stole his 3.3 while he was asleep, swapped him out with my blowed up one. And I don't really remember like how long that 3.3 lasted with me after I took it from him. I don't know why I just did that. I turned my blinker on to turn left and I went straight. That car behind me is probably wondering what I'm doing. Anyways, but guys, don't worry, because I'm a better person now, and I'm not a thief anymore. And believe it or not, like a couple of years down the road, after me and my buddy growed up a little bit and we've been through a lot together. I mean, we've been through a lot of bad stuff, a lot of good stuff. And I love him, he loves me. I'd do anything for him and he'd do anything for me. I told him what I did, and I admitted it to him, and I apologized. And he wasn't mad at me. He didn't care. I mean, it might have upset him. He might have been like, you know, what the F? But he just said, okay, whatever. And that's why I didn't run. I wonder why I didn't run. And guys, like I said, he would do anything for me and I'd do anything for him. He's the one that I just dropped that 2.5R off to, that I was breaking in for him. And he just gave me for free. He just gave me for free like $200 worth of Nitro RC parts for a Traxxas 3.3. He gave me a brand new connecting rod for a 3.3 or 2.5. He gave me a brand new wrist pin and G piston clip set for a 3.3 or 2.5. He gave me a brand new backplate seal for a 3.3 or 2.5. And the best part of all, he gave me a upgraded Nitro's Unlimited ink $80 piston head with a matching sleeve. Brand new. This sleeve, I forgot, I think this is like a lot of money worth of RC parts he just gave me for free. And I always give him stuff, he always gives me stuff. So we're like brothers, we help each other out, we're like family. I see him almost every week. We've gone on vacations together. He took his family, my family took my family, and we go off to vacation together. We hang out at each other's house all the time. So there ain't no hard feelings for what I did. And besides, he's done stuff to... Don't think that I'm the only one that done something bad to him. He's done several bad things to me before too. So it's even. We both got karma on each other. But guys, that's my story about the time that I was a bad person and I was a thief and I done something wrong and I stole something. So guys, I guess that's the end of my story. I got plenty of more Nitro RC stories, and I got a couple of electric RC stories, but I'm more of a Nitro fan. And like I said, every time I got to drive a long road trip or do something like that, I'm going to tell these stories and make these little videos for my YouTube channel. I hope y'all enjoy these stories I tell. Maybe y'all can listen to them when you ain't got nothing better to do and you're bored and you just want an interesting little story time. But guys, thanks for watching. I've only been doing YouTube for like 2 weeks, two and a half weeks now. I think I got like 20 something videos up. Most of it's about Traxxas Nitro stuff. And I think I got like 8 subscribers, and I can't believe I got 8 subscribers. I'm tickled to death that I got that many. I can't believe some of these people out here like Mr. Beast and Whistling Diesel that's got millions of subscribers. I can't imagine what that must feel like to have that many people watch your stuff and comment and talk to you, and it must be awesome. I mean, I don't think my channel will ever be big enough to for me to make profits from it. Like some people makes YouTube money and that's how they support their life. And a lot of them does really good at it. Like they're freaking loaded and rich for making YouTube videos. I don't ever plan on going that far with it. Yeah, I enjoy making videos and I enjoy doing my RC hobby stuff. But I don't think I'm just not really, I'm not a technical guy. I'm not good at doing stuff on computers. I don't know how to do like editing. I can't do fancy tricks and make stuff pop up during a video, put music in the background. I don't know how to do none of that. I don't have fancy cameras. All I've got is an old GoPro, and I use my iPhone for my videos, and my camera mount that holds my phone up when I do my RC stuff at home. It's a homemade mount that I built from scratch using hot glue, and a car mount that holds your phone up on your dash while you're driving. So I'm just a simple guy that just likes to share the hobby of RC stuff with people. I enjoy talking with people about stuff and RC related stuff. I like helping people because I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I know I don't know everything, and I know I can be wrong about stuff sometimes, and I make mistakes. But I've got a pretty good bit of experience about RC stuff, and I usually help a lot of people out with tips and advice. Like I said, I used to work at a hobby shop, and I'd have to literally strip RC. We would get RC cars in on trade all the time, and I would literally have to strip them down from completely put together to nothing. I would have to take it completely apart, clean everything one by one piece by one piece, clean it with brushes and soap and water and degreasers, make sure nothing's broke or missing, make sure all the drivetrain and the bearings and the components are working correctly, and put it back together and list it for sale in our hobby shop. And I've had to rebuild engines. I've broke engines in for people. I've fixed stuff when they break on people's stuff. I post a lot of stuff on Facebook about Nitro RC stuff, and I usually get a pretty good bit of comments. People messages me on Facebook and asking for advice on what to do. I know here recently someone asked me how they can make more torque on a 3.3, and then someone else asked me for advice on bearings for their engine. But guys, I'm going to get off here now. Like I said, I appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all enjoy these stories. I mean, I don't really know any of y'all, but I really appreciate y'all watching my videos. And I don't know what the deal is, but I'll go ahead and say I'm so sorry, because it pisses me off. It aggravates me so bad. I don't understand why some of my videos, when you pull them up to watch them on the TV or your phone, I don't know why some of them is like really small screens. Like it's so small you can't even see what I'm recording. I can't stand that. So I'm so sorry. I don't know why it does that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like I said, I don't really understand how to do a lot of this stuff. I'm just a simple guy. I know how to do the bare minimum, but I'll try to get better. And I'll try to post interesting Nitro RC videos about doing different things. I used to have a lot of RC stuff. Like I had multiple different RC cars, all different sizes. I had Nitros, I had brushless, I had brushed, I had drones, I had boats, I had helicopters a long, long time ago. But I went through a really bad divorce. I've lost good jobs. I had medical problems, so I ain't worked in like 2 years. I've had a hard past few years, and I've had to sell a lot of my RC models. And there was a lot of RC stuff that I just gave away for free, and then there was a lot of RC stuff that I was selling to some that I got ripped off on, like they basically stole them from me. So my videos might be like kind of based off the same platform. Like I do a lot of videos about the Revos and Slayers, because that's all I got is Revos and Slayers. But I'm getting a new T-Max 3.3 whenever I can pay it off. I got it on layaway at the hobby shop. Like I said, I ain't worked a full-time job in 2 years. The only way I'm able to get my fun money to spend on hobby stuff is by selling on my eBay page. I do pretty good at that. I've made a couple $1,000s in the past few months off eBay, but I sold out. Like, I sell out pretty quick because I usually post really good stuff for really good deals. Like, I don't try to rip people off, so my stuff don't last long on eBay. So right now I think I've only got like a couple of Nitro engines on eBay and some axle carrier assemblies for a Revo or Slayer. But guys, I'll slowly get more stuff in and start putting more up on eBay and making more money, and I'll eventually buy more RC cars, and I'll make more videos off different RC cars instead of just the same old ones. It'll just take me a little bit of time because I'm not working. I don't know when I'll ever get another job. I need to. There ain't nothing stopping me from getting a job, but I just ain't got a job. I don't know. I guess I'm just lazy. But guys, like I said, I'm gonna quit rambling. I know I've went off topic here and rambled on. I'm gonna get off here, and I'll make another Nitro story time video here soon. Next time I got another long road trip to drive. I think when I get back home, I gotta work on a couple of 3.3s. I gotta get one ready to sell. Somebody bought one from me off eBay, so I gotta get it ready to sell. And then I got one I gotta swap the bearings out on. Then another one I gotta swap the connecting rod out on and wrist pin out, doing a little preventative maintenance on it. So I'll make a couple of videos about that. So I'll see y'all later. Bye.